So as we talk about many issues facing Irish society coming up to the election, we talked about health, we talked about housing, we talked about immigration, we talked about many things. And I do think this is the thing that is been talked about a lot too, because I've heard it a lot from people. And there's been a lot of anger, and in particular, I talked about it earlier on too, about the bicycle shed, that €350,000. And it's the waste of public money. There's money been just fucked around, excuse my language, but just literally been fucked around everywhere. But there's no money been given to help people. It's all going to themselves. As we see just recently. And again, this is only the tip of the iceberg. What we know, it's only the tip of the iceberg. If we looked underneath the iceberg, I tell you, we'd be flabbergasted. But it's the fact of the matter of this mismanagement. And it's just corruption and looking after each other, basically. And this is the majority of politicians and the people in the Office of Public Works have friends, say in companies, etc., says construction companies, and it's all giving them a nudge, wink, basically. That's what it is. No politicians winning to say it, but that's what's happening. It's all helping their buddies and the people that are related to them, companies set up. That's what it is. It's all true and witch themselves. That's the crack that's going on. It's the same what we've seen in England with during the COVID lockdown, say, for face masks, etc. But anyway. So, as I said with the bicycle, I said 350,000. If that's 350,000, I don't know what to tell you. But then the security hut of 1.4 million. Just to say 1.4 million for security hut. And then obviously we heard the other day about Dublin Castle. And you're probably like, what will happen to Dublin Castle? They spent €70,000 on 3 curtains. So 3 curtains, so something like that, but a bit more fancier probably. For 4 occasions, and then they didn't use it after that, so they just left them there. So they used them for 4 occasions, they got them from England, paid 70,000 for them, and they're just kind of lying there now. So, great use of public funds. And again, the Office of Public Works, to be totally honest, should be shut down because they have an office building too in Dublin that they spent 1 point something million on. And we don't know the exact figure, but it's over $1 million anyway, on an office that does nothing, basically. The office is abandoned. they don't even use it. We didn't think they've used it. But it's just kind of lying there gathering dust, and they're still paying rent on it. They don't own it. They're paying rent on it. Beats me why they need it and why it'd be different if they were actively using it, but they're not using it. So it's just a huge weight. The Office of Public Works seem to just fucking money everywhere. And not to mention about other stuff too. It's insane. We see RTE take, for example, we're paying our TV license and RTE fucking money everywhere too. To Ryan Tubridy too, for fucking flip-flops, 3,000 on flip-flops, etc, tickets, big tickets to this concert, that concert, to this luxury apartment. Money's just thrown everywhere. And then OT looks for a bailout, and they got a big bailout, the Fuhrs and the government give them a big bailout. And only for that OT would be gone by now, to be done, so they shouldn't give them. But obviously the state needs their mouthpiece, so that's the only reason why. And I could go on and on and on. And take, for example, another thing I'm going to bring to you by the Green Party, Eamon Ryan, is to do with bicycle lanes. They spent 131 million, give 131 million euro worth of grants for bicycle lanes around the whole fucking country. Take, for example, in Cavan, they've done up the bicycle lanes, and you try and play spot the bicycle, because you probably only see about 2 people using it a day. They spent millions on it. And there's no money for the roads. Take, for example, in Cavan, just to briefly just to touch on it, I talked about before, they only give 11 million for the roads in Cavan this year. We need 21 million. And there's no money for that. But there's money for bicycle lanes, but nothing else. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. The logic in this, and then you see the HSE too, it's just total nonsense. And we see ads, etc, It's just total fucking... I never seen the like of it, to be told. It's just generally insane when you really think about it. Then obviously covering the Dáil TDs and the Dáil salaries for terms of expenses, allowances, that's a huge amount of money. It's in the millions, like in the 10 million, nearly 100 million, not the 10 million, in allowances and expenses for councillors, TDs, you name it, and not even that too. We look at, take for example, the Dáil printer, €10 million they spent on that, knocked down walls and everything, then it didn't work. And then the staff didn't know how to use it. They spent hundreds of millions, they spent hundreds of thousands of euro training the staff how to use the printer. And still to this day, I don't think it's being used. But it's just all a waste of money. And then take for example the Dáil bar. They don't pay their tab in the Dáil bar, and guess who flips the bill? You and me. And then obviously flying around the world, Eamon Ryan, etc, on private jets, etc, all on the taxpayer expense. Take for example the government jet then too. They spent over 500,000 in 5 months with Simon Howes been there on a private jet. Obviously the taxpayer had to flip the bill, of course, because why not, etc. And basically the paper's endless, and that's only what we know. The rest is not what we know. So imagine that, the page should it'd be honestly the longest document in history. If we literally looked at everything the Irish government spent money on, that is a waste, that's no benefit to anybody. And that's the thing, it's no benefit to anybody. Half of the things, like, tell me what the Dáil bicycle shed accomplished. What benefit does that have to the taxpayer for the TDs to have the Dáil, they have the bicycles parked at the Dáil and nice and safe, etc., etc. When people on the streets of Dublin have their bicycles taken, there's no such thing as helping out the people in Dublin, taking us out of the people in Cavan that have the bicycles taken. But obviously the TDs are a special case, to be so honest with you. But because VIPs, etc., etc. And it should be a big topic for every TD, especially the elected TDs, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the Green Party especially, when it comes to the bicycle lanes, etc. So it should be the number one thing brought up to them. So that why in the fuck, especially sitting TDs, why in the fuck did they know anything about the bicycle shed before it was put in place? Because obviously all of them seem to know beforehand. They all knew about it. They said nothing until it was found out. So they're all kind of covered for each other, etc., etc. But anyway, that's the question you should ask, and I would encourage people to ask the TDs that. Did they know before it even was started? Because obviously they knew. It's very obvious that a lot of them knew what was happening. But anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, because it's insane waste of money. Thank you.